So we're talking about mental health, and I'm going to talk about addiction. So addiction can be cigarettes, addiction can be gambling, can be sex, can be food. These are all big addictions. At the moment on the news, lots of negative things. We want them to feel more positive. There's more chances of becoming more addictive because any addiction, all it is trying to do is to create certain chemistry within the body, happier chemicals in the body. That's all you're trying to achieve. So you've got to look at ways of replacing the addiction, creating the happy chemicals without the negative aspects of that addiction. So a lot of people, they smoke. They say it relaxes me. I have to have a fag, it relaxes me. Oh yeah, I feel relaxed having a nice cigarette. No, no, no. Nicotine stimulates the body, it stimulates the heart rate, it makes you more active. Stopping what you're doing to have the cigarette, stopping what you're doing to have the vape, slowing down your breath as you're breathing in and out because you're smoking or taking a vape, that is creating the happy chemicals. That is relaxing the mind. That is stimulating parts of your brain to do with the meditative part of your brain. Where if you meditate, you get the same effect. So instead of having the cigarette or having the vape, you just stop and take some nice breaths and breathe in the fresh air, breathe out the fresh air. You don't feel the guilt then of having a cigarette. You haven't harmed the body by putting in loads of toxic chemicals that's going to poison it, that your body now has to deal with and clear out for the next few days, weeks, years. What you've done is you've done something positive, you replaced it with something positive. So, gambling addiction. Again, this is a high, you're wanting the excitement. So, find something else that excites you. Find something else that will give you that excitement safely. I'm not saying go off on a skateboard for the first time, you've never done it before, break your neck, but do something that is active, do something that is still exciting, do something that builds up that adrenaline and gives you that adrenaline rush that gambling can bring. Then the same, do the research and look at what happy chemicals you produce when you're gambling, and then look at other ways of replacing them. Food, another big addiction. So food is made moreish, it's made addictive. Highly processed food is made addictive. That's how they manage to sell you absolute rubbish when it comes to any nutrient content. They manage to sell you that rubbish as a food, saying it's good for you, when absolutely you could do without it. And you'll be much healthier and happier if you haven't got it. But what they're doing is they're selling it in such a way that when you use it, it's creating happy chemicals. It's got lots of sugar in, they use it as preservatives, they've got lots of salt and they use it as preservatives. It increases the shelf life, so it makes it more valuable to them, but it also makes it more addictive to you. And it makes it so the more is addictive, the same. If I give you 10 apples and I say eat all 10 apples, you'd probably eat two or three and think I've had enough of eating apples. I feel full. If I give you a packet of hobnobs, chocolate hobnobs, you eat 10 of them and think nothing of it. You'll probably eat most of them apart from a couple, and you leave a couple in the packet because you feel guilty eating the whole packet in one go. And then a few hours later, when the sugar levels drop in your body and your happy chemicals drop off and you're wanting happy chemicals again, because you're feeling really miserable and feeling guilty because you're just eating nearly a whole packet of biscuits, you go back to the packet of biscuits and you finish off the rest and say, well, I didn't eat them all in one go. But you still end up eating all them biscuits. And you didn't need to eat all them biscuits because you wasn't hungry. You was not hungry to eat the whole packet of biscuits. And if you was that hungry to eat the whole packet of biscuits, you should have had something else to eat earlier that was healthy. You should have nurtured the body, not harmed the body, by eating something that the body then has to deal with. It has to deal with all that sugar. It has to deal with all that. Yes, you've got happy chemicals, but your body isn't actually happy because it's just eating loads of rubbish. Too much rubbish. Your chocolate hobnob ain't going to harm anyone. Packet a day. probably isn't going to be good for you. So when we look at addictions, so we've got the food addiction, we've got the gambling, and you've got the smoking, the cigarettes. You've got taking drugs. What you got to understand is when you take drugs, they are going to create biological changes in your body. And you've got to look at what chemicals they're creating and how you can positively create them. So whether it's you're taking, say, like cocaine or whatever, you're going to need help to get off anything like that. You're going to have to take professional help on that. But remember that it is just a biological thing. And you've got to treat it as that and look at how you can deal with it on a biological level. Of course, we have traumas in life that you do need counselling for. But even with counselling, the stronger you are mentally going through the counselling, the better and more effective the counselling will be. And that still comes back down to body chemistry. So it's like in the morning, you may not be able to deal with so much stress, and then in the afternoon, you can deal with more stress, and then in the evening, you can deal with even more stress. But then come back to the morning, you can't deal with any stress because chemically we're different throughout the day. It's just the way it is. It's just the way we are designed. We're not designed to be any different. We'll leave it there.